Guys, welcome back to the 8 and 85 show. This is your pre-match warm-up ahead of our midweek fixture against an informed Birmingham City. Before we get into the show today, did you know that 70% of our viewers are not subscribed? Guys, if you're enjoying the content, please show us your appreciation, hit subscribe, and help us get into the face of Millwall, more Millwall fans like yourself. While you're here, please give us a like, get your comments down below and join in the conversation. Joining me today, we've got a few familiar faces. Dan, Harry, how you doing, boys?
All good, despite the defeat.
I know what you mean. And you both recovered after the terrible result on the weekend?
Yeah, you have to. Comes around quickly.
Just looking forward to Wednesday now, see what happens.
Perfect. Right, so before we get into that, let's go take you into our first segment, and this is the Tale of the Tape. So, this is how the two sides compared coming into the fixture. Over the last 5 games, Millwall have won 3, drew 1, and lost 1. Birmingham, on the other hand, have won 3 and drew 2. So coming into the game in slightly better form. Looking at the form guide over the last 5 games, Birmingham are actually the informed side in the Championship. Whilst, to be honest with you, we're not doing too badly ourselves. We're down in 3rd, despite the poor result over the weekend. So, you know, it's going to be a tough game, right? We all know Birmingham are a good side. And their fantastic run of form has catapulted them up to 7th place in the league. So they're now very much in the playoff picture. Looking at the recent head-to-head record, Millwall have won 1, there's 2 draws, and Birmingham have won 2 of them. So it's been pretty even amongst the two sides. They've both come into the game in good form and they're both up there in the league table. There is so much to play for in this fixture. Harry, we'll come straight to you, mate. Hearing those stats, how are you feeling about the game?
Yeah, I wouldn't say confident because obviously we're coming back off a defeat, but I do think we'll get a reaction. I think Alex Neil, will get something out of the boys. And I think if you look at the last 2 games before Portsmouth in terms of Wrexham and Wednesday, they weren't good performances, but we won. Wrexham was a bit of quality on the right, and Wednesday was the fact that they were a poor side, and we just got over the line. I think it was a bit of a reality check on Saturday that we're not just going to be gifted the playoffs. So we need to respond, and I think we'll get it. I think Alex Neil, we've seen what he can do, and I think we'll bounce back. I don't think it'll be pretty by any means. It never is on a Wednesday night, down a den. But I expect us to win 1-0, scrappy, maybe a last minute winner. I'm not sure. As long as we get 3 points, I don't mind. Birmingham, obviously, very good side. We saw what they did to us at their place, despite we obviously did have a depleted squad, but they've got attacking players that can hurt you, and we will have to be aware of that. And if we're not on our A game, they will turn us over. So looking forward to it. Not overly confident, but at the same time, I'm not fearing the worst either.
No, John, mate, I think you're bang on. I think we're in good form ourselves, right? So we shouldn't be scared of anyone. And obviously, you'd like to think that the Portsmouth game was actually a bit of a kick up the arse that we can't put in performances like that, and we need to do more. So actually, hopefully, this would be an opportunity to make right what was a dismal performance on the weekend, don't you think?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, you never want to lose. You never go into a game going, "Oh, I hope we lose today." But I think maybe losing a game has actually sent a message to the players that, we are 3rd. We have got a buffer on 7th and below, but it's not there's no guarantees in football. You have to go out there every week and give 110%, or you won't get points. So hopefully, the boys get a response back on Wednesday. I think there was booing at the end of the game, weren't there, on Saturday? And I think that was a bit unjustified. I think, the run we've been on, we haven't lost at home in 2026. We've lost 1 game in the league prior to that, was Coventry, who were, top of the league. So I think it was a bit unjust. I get that obviously fans aren't happy. A lot of people would have expected us to beat Portsmouth, just given the league standings. But they've apparently made a few good signs in January, and it's, they're on the up now. I think they're going to stay up. I don't mind Portsmouth. They're a good working man's club. And ultimately they turned us over, and we've just got to respond. That's all we can do, The good thing about the Championship is games come thick and fast. You can quickly right your wrongs very quickly.
100%. Dan, what do you make of the fixture, mate? You look forward to the game? You hopeful for a good result?
Well, considering the game we played on Saturday, not too confident, but I still have faith in the boys going into Wednesday. Obviously, it's going to be a tricky game against Birmingham. It always is when we play them. They've got some good players in the team. They've recruited well in January as well, and like I say, they've got the form going and getting close to the playoffs. Like I say, I'm hoping we come out with a win, but the boys have definitely got to up their game and can't be playing like they did on Saturday. So otherwise, I think we're expecting another hammering, which will not be great. But yeah, no, I still have confidence in the boys. I think they realised how much they let themselves down, but I think we give Birmingham a good game.
No, Joe, I agree, mate. And often credit to Alex Neil, credit to the boys. Whenever we have had a poor result like that, we do tend to then follow it up next week with a much, much more encouraging performance. So whether we win, whether we draw, I expect us to turn up, if nothing else, against Birmingham's, which we didn't do against Portsmouth. So let's see. Moving on to our next segment, we want to look at the key matchups, and this is where we think the game will be won and lost. And we've just picked out a couple of players from our side, a couple of players from Birmingham that we think are going to be the key matchups that you need to look out for on Wednesday night. Starting with Aziz versus Kai Wagner. So Aziz is obviously our primary attacking outlet down on that right-hand wing. So we constantly look to get the ball out to him, and he is our primary source of goals and assists for the season. So he's someone that we feed the ball regularly. But Birmingham's left back, a January addition from the MLS, I believe, a big money signing, has been absolutely outstanding defensively since he joined the league. And he has an assist to his name as well. So clearly got a little bit about him going forward. We're going to need Aziz to start putting up trees. Again, not on against Birmingham, right? He needs to do more than he did against Portsmouth. But whilst we're also looking for him to do more going forward, we are going to need him to get back and support Grammar defensively, because we know that they're going to carry a threat from that left-back position themselves, Birmingham. So, Harry, just start with yourself, mate. Would you make this matchup for Millwall?
Yeah, I think it's where the game may be won or lost. I think we've seen many times this year, if Aziz is on the game, we create a lot of chances, and we're lively going forward. And I think when Aziz isn't on it, or he's out of the team, potentially through suspension or injury, you see how much we struggle to create them chances. I think the first 10, 15 minutes is going to be crucial. If Aziz can get a few times in behind him, maybe get him on a yellow card or something like that, win a few free kicks, then for the 90 minutes he'll cruise the game, and I think that will be the difference between winning and losing or drawing. I think if we start a bit shaky, allow Birmingham to regain the ball a lot more, and allow them to keep the ball, because that's what Birmingham are going to do, right? They're going to keep a lot of the ball. They're going to be like pretty in the eye. It's how effective they'll then be in the final third, and in our half. So if Aziz can start quickly, and the team as well, and get Aziz on the ball early, I don't see why why he can't burn him the rest of the game. Aziz is probably, if not the best winger, but definitely top 3 wingers in the Championship. And if he'd been playing for an Ipswich or Coventry, we'd probably be saying he's the best. It's because he plays for Millwall, probably doesn't get the recognition he actually gets, considering how much we actually don't create at times. So yeah, I expect Aziz to start strongly as the rest of the team on the back of Saturday. And I think if he does, then I don't see any problems for him.
No, I think I agree, mate. And ultimately, there's a reason why Ipswich were offering rumoured fees of up to £18 million, right? So he's clearly a very, very good winger. But he joined us with the reputation from Reading of being a bit of a purple patch player. And I think maybe we're seeing that now at the minute, where he's struggling to impact games the same way he was a couple of weeks ago, despite the fact that he has still got a few assists. Dan, what do you think of that, mate?
Get the assists. He's, like I say, he's come from Reading. He's improved massively from Reading to us, and you can see how much of a good player he is. But no, he just needs to focus on the game and just play and just go forward and beat the man like he can, and hopefully get on the score sheet.
So,
no worries.
Moving on to our next battle, we've got Carlos Vicente versus Alfie Doughty. Another big money January signing for Birmingham. Vicente has been a bit of a revelation since joining the Blues. Got 1 goal, 1 assist in his 4 appearances in the league so far, but he did join them with five La Liga goals. So he's clearly a legitimate goal threat out on that right wing, and he's an excellent ball carrier as well. I mean, you've got to be a decent player to keep Patrick Roberts out the side, right? So we know that he's going to be a threat. Alfie Doughty struggled against Portsmouth, and he'll need to put in a big performance here. And personally, I think there's even an argument to say, should we be bringing in Zach Sturridge just to give it a bit more defensive stability, particularly if Alfie Doughty's fatigue is becoming a bit of an issue. Dan, what do you think of that, mate?
Yeah, I think, obviously, as you said, I think Alfie Doughty's struggling a bit with tiredness, obviously. I think personally think Sturge should come in for him on Wednesday because he's got that defensive ability more, especially against, like say, a great player than he is. It's a hard one because sometimes you might need Doughty in for his balls into the box, but then Sturge is, like I say, good with his defensive ability. He can go forward, but not as good as Doughty. So it's a bit of a hard one. But I'm sure whoever he chooses, Alex Neil, hopefully we can keep that guy quiet.
Harry, what about yourself, mate? Would you go for Sturge and add a bit more defensive stability, or would you rather stick with Doughty despite the fact that he was poor on the weekend?
Yeah, I'd be tempted to chuck in Sturge, to be honest. I think Doherty's looked a bit poor in the last couple of games, not just Pompey. He's looked very tired and fatigued, and it's to be expected, right? He was obviously injured a lot last season with Luton. He's come in. He got injured on the opening day against Borough, first home game. Then he got re-injured, didn't he? And he just kept getting like knocks and stuff. So obviously the fixtures come in thick and fast in the Championship, and I think, yeah, Sturge is a very good left back. You know, it's a good thing to have in that situation where you can just bring Sturge in. What you will lose, yes, as like Dan said, you know, we are going to lose that sort of presence down that left-hand side because Sturge ain't bad going forward, but he's not Alfie Doherty going forwards. So you will lose that.
No,
but at the same time, if you've got the Birmingham right winger, if we need to keep him quiet, I'd rather have Zach Sturge there and maybe lose out that attacking threat on that left-hand side. You know, we know how good we are on the right, so keep that side. We've got that side that's strong, that's fine. Bring in Sturge, keep him quiet, and then, you know, you've sort of potentially won 50% of the battle there. So, yeah, whoever starts, it's just, yeah, I think the thing with Doherty, he plays almost like a second left winger at times for Millwall. You know, he's further up all the time. And you look at the line sometimes, you've got Taylor, Cooper and Kramer, and then Doherty's about 10 yards in front of them all. And it's because, you know, he's taking the throw-ins, he's taking the corners. You know, he's constantly looking to be down that left-hand side and acts as like a second left winger. And I just think against Birmingham, when we need to consolidate a bit more, it might be handy to have someone like Sturge who is going to sit in line with the defence and obviously not go as forward as much. But at the same time, would you rather have Doughty in and then go 2-0 up within 20 minutes because we've thrown bodies forward? So it's catch-22, but I'd be tempted to start Sturge just on the basis he isn't playing much. And I think he's a decent left-back, to be honest.
No, do you know what? As you're saying that, you kind of think to yourself, is the obvious answer here to play Doughty left wing and actually go both of them? So you've still got Doughty's delivery into the box, his offensive output, with a bit more defensive stability, and let Sturge do his running almost. It's certainly one that Alex Neil needs to get right, and I'm sure he's thinking about it long and hard. The final battle we've picked out was Birmingham centre-back Clara versus Ivanovic. So no player for Birmingham's won more man and match awards than the Clara centre-back this season. He ranks in the top 3% for aerial duels, one. He ranks in the top 4% for tackles, one, and top 3% of touches compared to other centre-backs. So he's clearly a very dominant physical centre-back whilst also being really comfortable on the ball, which you'd expect from sides that dominate possession like Birmingham do. I think my gut feeling is actually you'd rather have Coburn leading the line, just trying to set him a little bit physically, because I don't think Ivanovic is naturally the type of centre-forward. But assuming Coburn's still unavailable, and Ivanovic is probably going to need a much stronger performance we saw against Pompey, right? Harry, starting with you, mate. What do you think of that? Who would you start with?
It's tough, isn't it? I mean, how ill is Coburn? You know, when you say illness, has he got a little sore throat? You know, it's hard to tell. I think if Coburn's 100%, I think you have to change it because it didn't work Saturday. But I've watched this defender a few times when Birmingham have been on the telly. He's good. You know, he reads the game very well. He ain't got a bad turn of pace either when he's sort of, they get him behind. He's very good. You know, we'll mind him at Millwall as like a third centre-back almost, even though probably don't need another centre-back because we've got Taylor and Coops, but he's a very good centre-back. And I think, I can see him bullying Ivanovic if Ivanovic allows it. It's going to be tough against him. There's a reason, like you said, he's topping a lot of things that he does because he's that good. He's very good on the ball. He looks calm, composed. He reminds me of, you know, a championship like Van Dijk almost, and that's quite a big praise for a championship defender.
No, I know what you mean.
He's just very calm and composed. Whenever I've watched Birmingham, he's always stood out. And A lot of time when you watch a team, if your centre-back's standing out, it's because you're probably on the ropes, and it's not that. He's actually pushing the team further forward a lot of the time, and he's getting them into better positions. He's a very good ball-playing centre-back. So if Ivanovic gets pushed around the park, we're not going to get even close to that goal. So it's going to be a good battle between him and Ivanovic. I would start Coburn if he's fully fit, and he's not got the sneezes. But I don't. The thing is with illness, it's such a vague term, isn't it? He could be very ill and he's out for 2 weeks, or he could be, could have had a bit of a chesty cough and he just doesn't want to be in a group, amongst the boys. So yeah,
No, exactly.
it's a debate for that one, isn't it? Because I still believe that Ivanovic is the best finisher at the club, but and inside the 18-yard box, Ivanovic is the guy. But I think anything, build up play, linking up with others, making himself a nuisance, Coburn ticks them boxes all day. So, yeah, I think Coburn probably suits the Birmingham match more, but if he's not fully fit, you have to go with a big serve, aren't you?
Absolutely that, mate. And Dan, what are your thoughts on that?
I would start him because, like I say, he can bully defenders a lot as well. His hold-up ball as well is good, and he can get other players involved. But obviously, we've got to wait on that to see if he's available or not. But if we've got to go with Ivanovic, I think with Ivanovic, he's one of those guys where he needs people around him, like to help him more as well. He's good with like flicking the balls on, so you need someone like Aziz or someone in the number 10 to run onto them balls and hopefully like go on. And just he creates, like I say, once he's in the box, his shooting ability is great. 9 times out of 10 he's probably scoring. But he just needs to be a bit more physical. I know he's still young, but just got to do what he's got to do, and hopefully we see what happens.
Guys, I think that summarises the key matchups nicely there. So moving on from that, we're going to move into our next segment, which is the opposition under the microscope. We're taking a deep dive into some of the things Birmingham do well and some of the things where Birmingham don't do so well, and trying to see where Millwall can try and exploit that a little bit. So we've already touched on it a couple of times this episode, but Birmingham are incredibly strong when they're in possession of football, and they like to have possession of football. They average 59% of the ball, which is the 6th highest percentage in the league. So you can tell what kind of side they are, right? They're also 3rd in the Championship for big chances created. So they like to have the ball and they carry a serious attacking threat, and they do create chances. Harry, what do you make of them numbers, mate? I mean, personally, my initial reaction is that actually we look better against sides to dominate the ball, so that might not be a bad thing.
I was literally about to say that. I said I prefer it when we play a team that just knocks the ball about. But we are so much better. It sounds really weird, but we're better without the ball. When we've got a lot of the ball, we get lost for ideas. We don't know what to do at times. When we don't have a lot of the ball and say we come away with a 37% possession, we know we've probably only had 1 or 2 chances. And in the moments, it's just killer instincts to go and put the ball in the back of the net. When we've got that, we saw it against Wednesday, when we had like 70% of the ball, we just, it gets to a point we just smash them into the box and just hoping for the best. We don't know what to do. So them stats, to be honest, like if anything, it works more in our favour that Birmingham do like a lot of the ball. They like to knock it round and try and play pretty passes, because we know our back four as a unit, apart from Saturday, are very reliable, don't concede goals. So let them have the ball around. Yes, they are going to create chances. We know Birmingham are going to have chances on Wednesday night, and we're going to have to deal with that. But as a game overall, we should be fine in terms of letting them have the ball, force them out wide, let them keep putting the ball in the box, because Taylor and Cooper and Patterson will come out and collect him or head him away. So them stats to me, yes, they are a threat going forward, but actually that's going to work more in our favour, because if we do allow him to have the ball and then we can catch him cold, get Aziz running, or whoever plays in the left, whether it's Watson or he does go Doughty, and get down the lines quickly and put the balls into the box, I think that suits us so much more than a team who's going to allow us to have the ball. We see it all the time when we play Wednesday or we play Oxford or teams like that who are quite happy to let us have the ball. We sort of panic. We sort of, we get nosebleeds because we don't know what to do, because we've tried 2 things and that's all we're used to doing. When we've got 100 odd chances, we sort of panic a bit more. So, it shows how good Birmingham are as a team, and I think we have to respect that. But at the same time, I think them stats work more in our favour potentially than it does for Birmingham.
Yeah, Joe, I completely agree, mate. Dan, what are your thoughts on what Harry just said there, mate?
Yeah, no, I agree with what Harry said as well. He's spot on with everything. I just think we just with them, they concede a lot of goals as well. So they are a team as well where you can get goals against them. I don't know how many goals they've conceded, but I know watching some of their games, they do concede quite a few goals. But we just need to up our game, just let them do what they got to do, and we play our game. Obviously, I think we got some tall players. We can exploit that in our set pieces and everything like that. So, but yeah, it's going to be difficult, but we'll let Birmingham have the ball. And like I say, Harry said, it's better in our favour.
So you've segmented on nicely there, mate. So looking at where Birmingham struggle a little bit, Birmingham conceded 40 goals this season, which are actually, surprisingly, because I've highlighted this as one of Birmingham's weaknesses, that's the exact same amount of goals that we've conceded. But it feels like when we concede like 3 or 4 quite regularly. We tend to, but we also have like the highest amount of clean sheets in the league, I believe, or we certainly are well up there. But Birmingham do concede goals, conceded 40 goals this season. So this is a defence that I think, to Dan's point, we should certainly be looking at, believing that we can get at. And another interesting stat that we pulled out was, despite creating a lot of chances, Birmingham are the 3rd highest in the league for chances missed. So they create an awful lot of opportunities, and they're fantastic at creating them, but they don't always punish teams. Now,
just hoping up front.
Yeah, exactly. Must have, yeah. Touch wood, hopefully I haven't jinxed it. So, but, again, you like to think if we can sort of return to that solid defensive back four that we've had for most of the season, where we're not conceding that many goals, hopefully we could try and limit them and then rely on the fact that little bit of inefficiency on their side might work in our favour. Dan, you already touched it, mate, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I say, it proves that they do leak in goals as well. But like you said, I thought they conceded less. Because obviously it seems like they said where we've conceded like 3 or 4 goals, they probably conceded like 1 or 2. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's for the taking. We just got to play. We got to play to our strengths. We've got to use our key players in that, and just work hard as a team. We don't want to go back to Saturday and that. But yeah, it's like I say, it's a difficult game, but I think we can score goals against them.
Completely agree, mate. Harry, what about yourself? There's got to be some encouragement in there, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the 40 goals we've conceded, they've probably come across feels like about 7 games, isn't it? Whenever we concede, concede either 3 or 4. So, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the battles are going to be won on both our right wingers, basically. That's what we've touched on. Their right winger has come from La Liga, and it could be a problem for Doherty or Sturridge. And our problem their problem for us is Aziz. So I think we'll definitely score. On Wednesday night, I've got a feeling we're going to score a goal, because I think, like we've just touched on the possession thing, I think we'll be able to break away and get a goal. But at the same time, it's can we keep one out? That first goal is going to be huge on Wednesday night, because if Birmingham 100%. Go 1-0 early on, you can already feel the boo boys are going to come round, despite being 3rd in the league still. But at the same time, if we go 1-0 up early on, I think whoever if we go 1 up early on, we can cruise it on Wednesday. And also vice versa, if we go 1 down early on, I think we could get a hammering. But yeah, look, it's going to be a tough game. Birmingham are no mugs. I know they've come up from League One, but they've got a very good squad, and probably a squad that's a lot of people on paper would say is better than ours. So we just got to go.
Make a case for it, yeah.
Yeah, we got to go down and just try and get 3 points. Like I said, it's going to be a really tough game. And I think, like I keep saying, the first 15, 20 minutes is going to be crucial. I think just got to start strong and just hope that we don't concede an early stoppy goal. And it'd be interesting to see what Alex Neil goes with and how he plays it. I'd be tempted to maybe rest one of the midfielders just because we've got another game Saturday. But yeah, I'm expecting 3 points, but I'm not overly confident.
Right, boys, that takes us nicely into our next segment, the tactics table. So we've talked about Birmingham's strengths, we've talked about their weaknesses, and we all saw the performance against Portsmouth on the weekend. The big question now, and I'm going to hand this over to both of you guys, what do you think we need to do differently on Wednesday night? Do you think it's tactical changes, personnel changes, or simply just a change in attitudes, concentration, just cutting out some of them silly mistakes. Don't give me your full 11s yet. We'll move on to that. But what do you want to see what do you want to see against Birmingham? Harry, we'll start with you, mate.
What do I want to see that against Birmingham? We didn't do against Portsmouth. A lot of stuff, to be honest. Probably take me an hour to go through the list of what I want to see. Personnel, I think we do need to freshen it up a bit. I wouldn't say it's become stale, but it's become very samey and almost sort of, you can sort of know what we're going to do before we kick off, kind of thing. So I'd be tempted to freshen it up. I'd be tempted to go Sturridge at left back, tempted to start Bannon instead of either Denor or Mitchell. I wouldn't mind which one he drops. I'd also be tempted to maybe go two up front and put them on. If they can see goals, why not go two up front, play 4-4-2? It worked at the back end of last season when we were winning games and we obviously went near to the playoffs. So why not? And Birmingham obviously going to be expecting the 4-5-1. So why not? Drop Nedgley, and if Coburn and Ivanovic are fit, play them both, or I'd even play Ivanovic just in behind, like a 4-4-1-1 almost, and Langsdorff literally just off of the Serb. And I'd go for that because I think when Langsdorff's been coming on, he's been playing very well. We all know he's not a clinical goal scorer at this level, but I think what he does do is a lot of dirty work and groundwork, which will hopefully then create more chances for us. So, yeah, personnel needs to be changed. Tactically, I'm not saying we have to go 4-4-2. I just think it'd be a good fresh up to do something like that. And yeah, we just got to look like we won it. And that was a problem on Saturday, is we just didn't, from minute one, even though it's 0-0 at half time, you just knew Portsmouth were going to score. They killed us for 90 minutes. So yeah, it's just about being up from it from minute one. And I'm sure we will be. I know Wednesday night games can be hard for just us fans to get up for. So I'm expecting, it's going to be a tough game, but as long as we all we can do is give our best. That's all Millwall fans want, isn't it? 100%. Throw yourself at the ball, throw yourself into tackles. Don't shy away from anything. If you get beat by the better teams, they knock it round you and look like prime Barcelona, you can't do much about it. But if you're going to cower away from 50-50s, let players run past you with ease, then that's when the problem is. So, yeah, freshen it up, I think, player-wise. And then, I'd be tempted to go 4-4-2, but not set on that.
No, John, I completely agree with everything you said there, mate. Dan, what do you think? Do you think we need to make some changes? Do you think we need to do anything different on Wednesday night? Or do you think simply just turn up for better attitude and cut out some of the silly mistakes?
No, I think he should make some changes. You can see on Saturday that some of the lads are really tired, and we've got a great depth in the squad now. We've got some good players still on the bench that we can bring into the game. So yeah, I would change it up. I would definitely put Sturridge at left back, because I think Doughty's, like the last couple of games, he's just been too tired. Maybe bring in Bannon, maybe for that creativity. I agree with what Harry said. If we was to have Coburn and Ivanovic, like if Coburn's fit, I'd have played them both. Because like I say, at the end, what we see the pair of them play like last season, it would work well for us, and it would cause Birmingham's defence a lot of problem. All we want is fight, hunger, win the first, second balls, and just like I say, if we lose to a team that's better than us on the day, but we know we've fought hard and it's not been our day, then it is. But then at least we know they've gave it 100%.
Cheers for that, boys. So take us into our final segment of the show. I'll start with my 11, boys, and you can, I'm sure you'll have feedback and we'll go through what you two both have. I think you'll start with Patterson in goal again. I don't think you'll change that after one game. I can't see anyone dislodging Kramer despite the fact he's worst game of the season, and I do back him to bounce back. Taylor and Cooper, pretty established at centre-back right there, so that won't be changing. I definitely would have Zach Sturridge at left-back just to give a bit more defensive stability. Personally, I want to see us change it a little bit formation-wise. I think we should go into 3 in midfield, and Jay touched on this on the Portsmouth warm-up. I want to see Bannon holding in the deeper position, sort of playing that quarterback role and knocking passes about and trying to dominate that midfield. And I also want to see Derek and Billy Mitchell in there as well. So controversially, dropping Nedgley and dropping Denor. The reason I say that is I just want us to have more legs in there, a bit more presence. We often lose out of that midfield battle because every team plays a 3 and we play a 2. So I'd like us to try and numerically at least match teams up this week. Right wing, Aziz has to be. Left wing, I think personally I would stick with Watson. I think he was pretty good against Portsmouth despite the poor result. And then if fit, Coburn, if he's fit. But to Harry's point earlier, if he's not, it's got to be Ivanovic, right? And I think the score will be a tense, difficult, ugly, backs against the wall, Millwall 2-1 victory. Harry, over to you, mate. What's your starting 11? What do you think the score will be?
Perfect. Right. Yeah, he won't drop Patterson, not after one game. I don't think he was at fault for any of the 3 goals, to be honest. You can make an argument could have done better with the first one in terms of where it went, but it's also a very good finish when you see the angle. So Patterson will be in goal. I expect Kramer to stay in, although I think the last 3-4 games he's looked a bit shaky. The Twins will stay at centre-backs. And then obviously I think Sturge is going to come in for Doherty because I think he's looked knackered. And then I'm going to go 4-4-2. I think it will go gung-ho for this,
Okay.
try and win the game. I'd go Bannon and Mitchell in the midfield. I'd have Watson and Aziz out wide, and then obviously your Coburn and Ivanovic obviously up front. If Coburn's not fit, then I'd resort back to the 4-5-1 and put Mazu Sakho in the midfield, or a midfield 3. But yeah, if we're both fit, 4-4-2, and just go for these. We've got nothing. Also, we've got nothing to lose, but we need to get a win, so we might as well try and throw some strikers at it.
Yeah.
Would I have Langstaff in the 2? I'm tempted, but yeah, I just worry about his finishing sometimes. And I'll go. Yeah, I think it'd be back to the wall. 1-0. I'll go 1-0 Millwall. I think we'll keep a clean sheet, and I think we'll score about the 87th minute. I think a few years ago, didn't Tanganga score like a last-minute winner against these lot?
Yeah.
I've got something like that, Taylor or Cooper, last minute.
I just wouldn't that be nice. Dan, what about yourself, mate? What's your 11 and what do you think the score will be?
Yeah, I think Patterson will be in goal again. Like I say, you touched on it. I don't think you can drop him after that performance. Like I say, it wasn't his fault for the goals. Like I say, Sturge at left back, Taylor and Cooper at centre back, and obviously you can't drop Kramer at right back. I'll go with Bannon and Mitchell in the middle. Then I'd have Watson on the left, Aziz on the right, and obviously, like I say, if Coburn's fit, I'd have Coburn, if not Ivanovic, up top. But as number 10, it's a hard one because I know everyone's not great of him, but I'll stick Langstaff in there just to cause an issue. Maybe stick in there as a number 10 to help Ivanovic out more because he can be the guy that runs people down, shuts you down quicker, and obviously 9 times out of 10 he might get the ball when it comes to Ivanovic. So yeah, it's a hard one, but obviously yeah, I'd go with that, and I think it's going to be a tough game, and I also think it's going to be a 1-0 as well.
To Millwall, I assume.
The Millwall, yeah.
Dan, spot on. That's really good, mate. I completely agree. So, guys, that has been 885 show pre-match Birmingham City warm-up. Hopefully, you've enjoyed the show. If you have, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with anyone, really. Share it with friends, your family, your neighbours, your co-workers, your postman. If they're a Millwall fan, make sure they're aware of an 885 show and the work we're doing over here. Get them involved. Like we said at the top, get yourselves in the comments, join in the conversation. It's you guys, it's the engagement and people watching and the community that we're growing. It makes us all worthwhile. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the 885 show. See you in the next one.